I was filming at the Toronto International Film Festival and it felt like mission impossible, but mission possible because it felt like there was a timer and I had to do everything really, really quick. So what happens when you have to get into a room and conduct an interview that looks good, sounds good, ends up having great content, and you have a short period of time? And also you have to have a small footprint because the room might not be that big, right? I thought I'd break down my whole process there because I think it's something that you as a videographer, filmmaker, editor, anyone in the world of film can actually pull from, even a producer. If you are doing interviews like this, you kind of can figure out like your whole process and making it a lot easier on you. So one thing that was important was knowing what the room looked like. Obviously, walking into a room when you don't know what it looks like, it's not the scariest thing in the world if you've done it a lot, but you don't have that much time to figure out the best angle. So luckily, I got to go the day before. So the room that we were doing the interviews in, they had set up a certain type of way. So I actually used the app Cadridge to take pictures to kind of figure out my framing. I was able to figure out what was in there, what would be in the room on a regular basis. And they had a bunch of chairs. So once I got the pictures, I was able to go home and figure out, okay, cool, this is what I'm going to do here and here. So I thought the wall that they had there was a beautiful wall and a beautiful texture. And then it had the recessed lighting. So that kind of already helped. So what I did was I ended up moving those chairs and the tables just to the side, used one of the chairs for the talent. I figured this interview could be off camera, so I'm asking questions off camera.
All right, so this is the setup for doing these interviews during TIFF. Just got a key light, got a 200, and it's pretty bright, good enough, but able to black out the windows. And then just got a hair light, which kind of is a lot on the side, can't really get it above, but you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. And then we just got the backlight over here on the floor behind the chair. So the overall shot looks really cool. It's clean and it's a minimal setup, easy to kind of move, run and gun. We move the stuff out the way, the chairs, and then we put the room back together when we are leaving. So yeah.
And that was like enough to make the shot just look beautiful. Getting in ahead of time was like perfect for me because I was able to get that figured out way before actually getting there. So my next problem I was going to get into was my footprint. During TIFF, it is a busy time. Like there's people all over the place. Traffic is insane. You can't really drive Ubers to drop you off. Will drop you off so far away. So I figured, okay, cool. In order to do this, I would have to make sure that I have a small footprint. I'm carrying gear. So I figured out a really cool way to carry my gear. I was able to use one suitcase.
Got everything set up in that suitcase right over there. So it was able to pack all that in there
and fill it with only the things I actually needed. As the days actually went on, I was able to figure out what I actually didn't really need and not even bring those. So on the other days of interviews, I was able to condense it even more. But I was able to bring just one suitcase, one knapsack, and a tripod bag and a bag for my light stands. And what I ended up doing was I had these bungee cables that I found at Dollarama at a dollar store. So if you guys don't know, let me grab them for you. So I used these bungee cables on the light stands bag and the tripod bag. And what I was able to do is keep it tight together and then wrap these around so then they all can just be carried together. And then I was actually able to bungee the light stand and tripod to the suitcase. So that way and I had wheels on my suitcase. I was able to just wheel my suitcase and have that. So it really made it really condensed, and my knapsack had my camera. That was enough for me to get around. And I said, okay, it was a small footprint, able to get into the locations I need to go shoot, move around the city because it's like really, really busy with fans and people going to movies and all that stuff happening. Audio obviously was important. I wanted to make sure that one, the branding for Custom TV was within there. So I actually had the mic flag. And I wanted something that was also great audio in case I ever wanted to use snippets that are just audio only or voiceover. Because a lot of the stuff that the actors and writers and the talent was giving was great points. And I figured, okay, I want these points to be used later on if I want to use it in a different type of way. So I love using like a Sennheiser handheld mic. The voice, the audio you get is super clean. Obviously, you have that look of a mic in your face, but because it's TIFF and we all are doing interviews during that time and all media it's kind of normal to have a microphone in your hand. The audio with the visual, I can reuse in different ways. And that's the most important thing, I think, is when you're filming, thinking about how you can use it in multiple ways, right? The one full video, there's going to be promos, there could be audio only. Honestly, the way we had the conversation, I also record myself talking on the same type of mic. So if I wanted to turn it into somewhat of like a podcast, I could actually turn that interview into a podcast. So there's multiple things I can do with it. So I wasn't just thinking about it from the standpoint of only an interview. I'm thinking about it from what else it can be and live even longer. And that's the whole point, right, of when it comes to film, video, and content. It can live longer if you really think about it ahead of time. about what you're going to do with it and where it could possibly go. Because then the tools you end up choosing for it makes sense because you're going to actually use it for more longevity purposes, right? Again, if I use just like maybe a shotgun mic on them and I was just speaking, I didn't have the other mic in my hand because we both had Sennheiser's mics speaking into it. Well, then I wouldn't be able to make a podcast feel, or I could, but it'd be a little bit janky. So, at the end of the day, my most important thing that I think about is making sure it's like the best quality it can be. I focus on creating things that will last a long time. I want longevity. I want that if 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's kind of future proof. Like people can still utilize that. It still looks great. It's not something that you kind of, you know, the whole point of it is like, we can be in trends right now that are, lo-fi, this and that, which is great. But when that trend shifts, or someone wants to use this footage for a documentary or something like that, I have it, right? And it's great footage, and they're gonna love to use it, rather than just kind of doing it quick and dirty as you can now, and then later on you're like, oh, I wish that was like better. So my goal is always to do the best, the top of the top that I can produce, so that way it is future proof and has longevity and can be used years from now, to the point where many people that actually done interviews with, they end up actually using this footage and they're using the interviews as like things in their press kit and stuff because they like how it looks so much compared to other things. So yeah, that actually matters a lot. So make sure, even though a lot of things can look great, make sure you spend the time to make it look good. Another thing that made things like a lot easier and great was having the iPad with the monitor control app. That just allows you to pretty much make sure, your talent's in focus. You can see what it looks like. There's false color, all that kind of stuff. So I use my iPad a lot with my FX3. That way I was able to really make sure my image was great. I was monitoring audio as I was speaking to them. But that's another reason why I like to use the mics I use, because they cancel out a lot of noise. And if you want to do treatment to it after, you can actually make it sound like there's nothing going on. So I guess the whole point of this is to let you know what I think that could help you when you're working on your interviews, or you're going to TIFF maybe, or another festival. If you get a chance to go ahead of time to see the location, or if you can't, pictures on a website, whatever you can do there. If you can get in location, bring the CAD app, or get the CAD app. It's just great because you can actually use it to get your focal lengths, your camera, and to see what your angles and imagery would kind of come out and look like, and know where your framing can be and where you can set your camera from where. It's just really good pre-production planning, even though interviews and stuff like this is so on the fly. Other than that, yeah, that was it. So my name is Josh. Just wanted to share that with you guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.